Hello, I wanted to take a minute to walk through the changes I've made to the lottery software for Manhattan Charter School. Make sure that those changes have been made correctly and that they match everything that you're looking for. To start, let's look at these requirements here. Let me take a screenshot, pull that here into Paint. Let's grab this crop, expand this. So look at the requirements. So these were the requirements we were given last year. We implemented it. In particular, we implemented the 18% set aside. The issue that we ran into is that in writing the software that Lon Stevens ran, we did not account for the scenario in which you could have an individual as part of that set aside 18% who could also be part of the students in District 1. So what we did is we basically pulled everyone, we pulled the 18% for 2A, and then everyone else wound up going into 4 because the lottery logic followed this and skipped moving everyone from 2A who was not part of the 18%, the 82% into Section 3. It pushed them into Section 4. So we've gone back and we've corrected this issue, and I'm going to walk through it in a minute so you can visually see the correction and make sure that that correction is correct and that the new software is functioning correctly. But let me walk through and make sure I fully understand this. So we have siblings, they'll be first. This is dealing only with siblings of existing students, enrolled pupils. This will not deal with siblings who are co-enrolling but have no previous connection to the school. What I like to term secondary siblings, where you have two siblings, maybe one in 2nd grade, one in 5th grade, no connection to the school, but they're both enrolling. That will not be treated in this particular version of the software. As I read it, preference is only given to siblings of enrolled pupils. We then get to Section 2. We come down here, we see that this is 18%, but we see that you'll never have enough set-aside seats to get to Group B. I'm going to read a lot into that word never, and so what I want to do is I want to take this 2B, I want to come in, I want to put it here and just lump it with number 4, that this is all going to be 1. So we have basically for 2 here, we have 2 is going to be an 18%. We're going to take district students and put back in number 3. So we then come to number 3, students who live within community school district number 1. Then we have all other eligible students, which is going to include outside community school district 1 that does not speak a language other than English. But because we know that we're never going to get to 2B, it means that we're never going to need to assign any special weight for outside community school district 1 that speaks a language other than English. So for all intents and purposes, this actually goes away. All we care about are these 3. Siblings of enrolled pupils first. Second, we care about 18% of within school district 1 that speaks a language other than English at home. 3, we then care about students who live in district 1 to include, again, to include that 82% here that's going to be not accounted for. Then we're going to care about all other eligible students. We're not going to make any differentiation to the fact that that will happen to include non-District 1 students who speak a language other than English at home. So this is how I understand it. Please validate this. So I've modified the software according to these rules. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. This is actually the code for the software We have about 1,700 lines of code. These are all the inner workings that make it work. We're going to go ahead and tell it to compile and run. Let's go ahead and minimize this. So we're just going to do demo Manhattan Charter. Let's go ahead, before we do that, jumping the gun here and actually look at our list. So I've compiled a list of the presidents of the United States that we can pretend is our sample list. So let's go ahead and give a few as primary siblings. So these are going to be siblings of those who are already at the school. So we'll say Gerald Ford, for example, already has a sibling at the school, as does William Henry Harrison, so on and so forth. We'll then go through and we'll mark all of those who are within District 1 that have English, a language other than English spoken. So these will be part of the 18% set aside. We'll go ahead and mark a couple of these here. John F. Kennedy, for example, would have a language other than English spoken at home. So we've marked quite a few of those. We'll then go through and we're going to mark our district students. So we're going to use the hash symbol to represent our in-district students. Mark quite a few of those. Oops, deleted one there. So we now have our district students. So the modification that I've made based on lessons learned from the errors in last year's lottery is that we need some way to indicate the students who are the speak a language other than English at home, which is going to be the tilde sign. We need a way to mark that they are in district. So we're actually going to come through here. We're going to mark that these are all districts. So I've allowed for assigning essentially 2 weights, where we're marking that English language other than English with the tilde hash sign is going to indicate that they are in district. Theoretically, we could leave some of these tildes here for students who are out of district who speak a language other than English at home. However, having just gone through the requirements, we actually are eliminating those because we're going to just lump those in with the general lottery pool who get no preference because they're not ever going to be part of the 18% and they therefore need no special treatment. So we've then gone back and marked our second weight. Note that this is something they'll be able to do when you provide the lottery list. And we'll go through that on site when I'm on site and actually go through the lottery list and make sure that I'm marking these correctly. But I have scripts that'll go through, parse the list, and we'll mark the weights correctly, including the double weights. So we now have all of our double weights here. Let's save it. I'm going to go ahead and select that file. Pick a random grade. We'll say that there are 10 open positions. Submit. I've put up a pop-up box that just tells us, because we're going 18% of the open positions, so 18% of 10 would be 1.8. Per our understanding, we're going to round up, so that's going to be 2 spots that are going to be set aside for non-English speakers. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. This message box, by the way, I can get rid of before the day of the lottery. This is just instructional while I'm doing testing. So we see John Adams, obviously siblings are getting picked first who have the exclamation point. Just going to go through those few that we set, just to speed here a little. Okay, so we now see that we have our set-asides next. We then go from set-asides into our District 3. So we had our 2 set-asides that ended with Bill Clinton that had the tilde. Now we had those 2 set-asides. We only had 2. We jump into District 3 now. You're going to notice that we have a hash sign for Rutherford B. Hayes. We then go to John Quincy Adams, who also has the tilde. He was a John Quincy Adams in our scenario, was a student who spoke a language other than English at home, was also in District 1. However, did not wind up getting the 2 set-aside spots, but is now still included within this third preference that we're running for in-district students. Even though he didn't get his 18% set-aside, we didn't want to discount him. We wanted to treat him as a in District 1 student. So he does now appear. So we're going to go through, see a couple of other in-district students appearing. We go through our 10 accepted spots, where our waiting list. Again, we happen to see here's someone, Franklin Pierce, who could have been picked as a set-aside, but wasn't part of those 2 spots picked as part of the 18% waiting list 2. We do see those sprinkled in who didn't have a set-aside. All the preference groups are randomized too, just for complete fairness, especially considering the fact that the waiting list can be comprised of those individuals. So we're going to see intermingled those who are set aside and didn't get that set aside, and those who are just District 3 with no set aside. So we're going to go through those. We're going to get to the end of that group pretty quickly here. Yep, so now we're at the end of the group. Now we're just a general pool. So these are students who are part of the general pool. Some of these students could be students that are out of district, or students that speak in a language other than English at home that are out of district. Again, we're making no symbol in front of the students who are out of district and speak a language other than English at home, since as part of the requirements we've been told that those students will never have the opportunity to be drawn as part of the 18% set aside. So we're just treating them as part of group 4 with no sort of indicator or marker. We'll just go ahead and speed it up now because these are all just the remaining pool in random order. We'll get to the end. I've told it to print to a PDF. This is just the standard printout that you're used to that would normally print to a printer attached. I just had it print to a PDF so we could see it on the screen. Again, for the actual lottery, when we're running it, we could hide these weights, and it'll do that just fine. Whether we want to show them or not is something we can discuss the day of the lottery. Probably it would help to show them unless it's going to cause additional confusion. So we can discuss what the best approach to that is. But that is still an option to hide those, and it will still follow all of the weights, just not show the symbols to the parents to possibly confuse them. So then we're back at our code here. I will be on site for this lottery per the current plans so that I can actually run the lottery. If there are any issues that are identified between now and then, I'm obviously happy to integrate them. So if you come back and you look at the requirements here and say, well, I'm not reading something correctly, please let me know. Or you've just watched the actual demo and you say, no, that's not how it should work, let me know. But I think now that we are encompassing every possible scenario, but one of the beauties of having me actually present for the lottery to run it as the developer is that I'll also have this code with me. And so if we do find some last minute, oops, we didn't account for this, or oh, something has changed that we were not able to get to me in time, I can come in here, put it in the code, make that change, we can quickly recompile it and use it for the lottery. So look forward to working with you again. Again, thank you very much for your patience with our issues last year, and I feel 100% confident that they are corrected this year, that we're going to be able to serve all your needs this year satisfactorily, and that by being on site, I'm going to be able to take care of your lotteries in a manner that you'll be extraordinarily pleased with, and we'll put a money-back guarantee behind that. Thank you very much.